was forcing a kill or block. It was so much damage pumping out from the BM, the Mage, and the Priest being able to go offensive off of CS. You pretty much, the difference to me was, and if you watched us play too, you noticed that the series that we lost against JCM, I decided to go Arcane. And that, you know, in Battlegrounds, that's definitely a comfort zone for me, but in Arena, it was not a comfort zone. We went a little bit out of our league playing that, and JCM completely ran shop over us. And
I gotta say, I was a little worried for you guys after that first one.
I was not worried, to be completely honest. I'm just going to cut you off there.
Yeah.
I was like, well, we didn't play well. I didn't play well. I should have just played Frost. I was out of my comfort zone. We didn't play well. We stacked on top of each other. They just waited till DRs on Sheeps and Novas and shit, and then they just came in and globaled us, and me and Living were stacked, so that was poor. I just said, you know what, I'm going to play Frost the rest of the tournament. I got mind-gamed into thinking that maybe Arcane was better, and then I realized that I don't think it is better. Frost is better. I'm better at Frost in arenas, so I'm going to play Frost. We end up having a great show. Personally, my favorite moment from the entire tournament, the funniest moment for me in the entire tournament was when Gino's team won against, I believe it was BTB.
Yes.
When Korzak's team, EBLG, played BTB, and the stream chat was just so hyped that I was just like getting a kick out of it.
Crazy.
I was laughing so much, and to be completely honest, I was really surprised that they took that series, because I'll tell you what, to me, I sat there and I saw GSC's comp come out with the Warrior BM R Shaman. I'm like, man, that's a scary comp. And then you look at Gino's comp that they ran, and the damage is higher on their comp. But the fact that the Priest can't dispel, and he doesn't have the kind of movement and abilities to stop me from CCing him, minus guys, it really didn't scare me as much. But they did have that damage. They were able to take that series. They were able to just blow up some of the teammates from BTB to really overpower them, because the Warrior BM, man, that's a strong combo. Front line DPS, and you got that melee cleave going on. So I don't know, like, what? It was kind of odd, man. It kind of came down to could teams handle the melee cleave? Because GSC definitely had some success with the melee cleave. Gino had some success with the melee cleave. I think the Shaman's a better choice in that comp too, because you got the Dispels, you got the Surge, you got Shear, you got Purge, you got all the utility spells to go with that melee cleave. And it makes it really difficult for the makes it very difficult for the mage of the opposing team to stop a shaman as opposed to a priest. Priests are very easy to counter. Sorry, Gino, that you're getting banned in chat right now. I have no idea what Nightbot's doing, but
Nightbot will be gone as soon as the thing's over, assuming I can figure out how to get rid of him. But something I wanted to ask you is that I noticed, and it was something the commentators did a great job of highlighting, is Party Over played Alliance. And there were certain points while they were going up against Gurabashi Surf Club where it really seemed like the lack of that racial interrupt or stun hurt them tremendously. Where if they could have just got, like, say, that clutch War Stomp or Arcane Torrent, it would have made a huge difference in, say, swinging the game in their favor, or at least giving them some room to breathe to get back to where they'd like to be. Do you think the racials really came into play there, and it kind of helped express the point that Horde, at least at this level, there's a reason that everyone's been playing Horde and switched over for the Cup?
I'm going to say in that series in particular, no. Because I think they ran a really shitty comp. And that's where you could see, like, these guys are not playing in the bracket like they did last year. They're not putting the effort in. They're not putting the time. Like, Warrior, fine. Like, that's a fine comp. You can still get some damage out with the Warrior with the enchants that are still available. Hunter literally does no damage without scope proc. Like, even if you're playing Marksman, and then you have a Priest, so you literally have no CC on your team. Questionable damage burst. And it was just to the fact that they didn't think about the comp they're running. Like, it doesn't make sense at 19s. Like, if Yowza would have been playing as Shaman, like, holy cow, that might have been a lot scarier. But Yowza played Priest. So, you know, you need some sort of utility to help you out. And yeah, I think racials could have helped them out, but not to the point where they would have been turning the series because of it.
So either way,
I don't think they ran that good of a comp. Like, that's not a scary comp in my mind.
That is fair enough. I do like the fact that it was at least something different, even if it was ill-advised when the overall scheme of things, let's say, for who's going to win. But what about the Shaman Warrior? Was it BM? The Priest Mage Hunter? That was Gurabashi Surf Club, right?
Right. That was pretty trolling, man. Like, those guys are a bunch of trolls, but they're good. They're good players. They that was funny how they submitted their roster, because they signed up as Priest Mage Hunter, but then you actually click on them and their tunes are named Priest Mage Hunter, and they're actually Warrior BM Arsham. So that was kind of trolly.
It was great listening to the casts where it's like the, say, Priest, or the Mage, a.k.a. the Shaman, just used a wind shear.
Yeah, and it is pretty, it is kind of trolly there in that sense, so I'll definitely give it to them. It was funny, and they ran a viable comp. I said this, they're the only team in my mind. Well, I should rephrase that. Maybe there are a few teams. they're probably one of 3 teams in my mind who sat there, thought out what comp they wanted to run, why they were going to run that comp, and then ran it, versus like people who just ran the comp that they knew other people were having success with. That comp right there is a great counter to mages. They just have to win quickly. If they don't win that matchup quickly, it's a lot of that play is dependent on the Shaman. The Shaman has to carry that team really hard to win. Because they can literally tunnel the Priest or the Mage of the opposing team, and if the Shaman can keep himself out of CCs of the Mage, he's going to put his team in a really good position. But it's dicey too, because if they're not able to get that aggressive start on either the Priest or the Mage, and you probably want to go Priest to be completely honest, it allows the Mage to sit there and snipe a CS, snipe some CCs, but if he's able to move up with his team and the pressure's coming out hot, the Mage is going to have to peel for his healer, and, you know, I felt like that comp was strong. It definitely gave us a run for our money both times we played them. So, I don't know. I don't have too much more to comment on the arenas.
Well, there is...
to me was like, there was a few team. I'll say a few team notes. Like, JCM, I think, played pretty well. But look, they went down to GSC, that comp right there. And I just knew that the way we were going to play it, we were going to be more aggressive than GSC was going to come out to be, but through the work of CC. Like, I knew that I had to carry our team against that for us to win those games. So, and then you look at, you know, Waka did a solid job. I was a little surprised that Ping lost. I thought Ping would be in the finals, to be completely honest. Like, I thought Ping put in a lot of work. And I think they just had some serious miscommunications that caused them some losses, but they ended up going pretty far. I thought they were going to go finals, basically.
And then, what, they went down to
the
skill ratio, yeah.
Yeah, we played them in the semifinals. But
before we move on to talking about the Warsong Gulch portion of the Twink Cup, which will be coming up in, what is it, 10 days? Something like that?
Yep.
How did you feel, when you died and then Moran went down? And then it was like, oh, shit!
Oh, man, you know what? That game was crazy, too, because if you go back and watch that, like, I sat there and I was like, man, like, I am not upset with how I played that game. I literally, even though I was the first person to die, we had 2 or 3 really good looks on Moran. We had him at 100 health, he blocked, he had like 200 health twice. Like, we had a ton of pressure at the start of that game. That's exactly how we want to play that game. They were just out edging us, and then they got the pressure going, he got stacks, they see us living. They go and get full sheeps on him, and I went down, and I'm like, man, like, the only thing I felt like maybe I could have done differently in that game is I could have held my block a little bit. I might have had it available for when Living got sheep there. But regardless, that's how it turned out. I was like as soon as I died, I was like, oh, man. Because I really sat there and I'm like, I don't know too much more what I could have done there.
Yeah.
And then Saxon just turned around, just destroyed Moran. And obviously, for those of you guys that were listening, it was just like they were as on heels as we were. They land that kill. They couldn't believe it either. they were trying to, Moran was going for CCs on Saxon, Nettie was damaging into him. Saxon going out there, he's going to get the win, smashes Moran. Their communication wasn't on point on that game, just like every team. They just had issues.
Yeah.
And then the 2v2 of the century, man, that's going to go down in the book. That's going to go down in the book of Twink and things.
Well, and it made it crazier, 'cause like the match before, maybe 2 matches before, you had Curly in that exact same situation where it was like monk on priest,
Right.
and he was able to bang down the priest, and then it's, you know, deja freaking vu, except Sax comes out with a stronger keg, basically, and takes it in after somehow landing that, I don't know, he just destroying of Moran because of that miscommunication.
Yeah, it's heat of the moment, man. People do stuff when you challenge them. So I'm looking forward to the Warsong tournament. That's what I'm really prepared for, and that's what most of these teams are out here really caring for, and that's the main event. So we want to do well in the main event. I have a lot of faith. It should be a lot of fun. We got 10 teams signed up. It should be a blast, man. There's a lot of teams that signed up. A lot of, in the last few days too, definitely some unexpected signups.
So let's kick this on over to the big star of the whole Twink Cup, and that is Warsong Gulch, which you and Skill Ratio both enjoy a first-round bye. How does it feel to be the Golden State Warriors of this?
Well, I guess good. I mean, hey, man, we put in a lot of work in the arenas to get ourselves there, but if you actually think about it, most of the teams have a first-round bye. It's just the fact that
is true, yeah.
we have the play-in games. More or less. They're not really play-in games, but the 7 through 10 seeds, because there's 10 teams in the tournament, are playing the first round, and then we play those teams. So I don't know. It should be fun. I don't. The schedule hasn't come out yet, but I can tell you what's going on. At least from a generic standpoint, we're gonna have Thursday night. There's gonna be an opening ceremony of sorts.
Oh yeah, talk about that.
Yeah, there's gonna be. It's an idea that me and Drugs came up with. Drugs came to me asking, we should probably do something for the Twink Cup and get the promotion out, etc. And we decided it would be really cool. What if we had like an opening ceremony event? So we decided, oh, that'd be sick, like for everyone in the community to go out there, have a little opening ceremony. We're gonna have fireworks. We're gonna have a bunch of stuff handed out to people that show up, and there's probably gonna be some sort of voice comm for people that want to be in some massive call. So that should be kind of fun. I'll most likely be streaming the event. I'm planning on being there. There's a lot of preparation going into it, so it's going to be not this Thursday, but next Thursday, the 30th, for people that are looking to show up to the event. It's going to be on Bleeding Hollow, I believe, and at this point, I think Thunderbluff, but maybe there's going to be reconsideration to go Dalaran. I'm not sure on the final destination of where the event is, but first word I heard was Thunderbluff, but it may be reconsidered to go Dalaran because of the faction differences. So.
All right, here, Buns. I think it's time to do the giveaway so we can get rid of Nightbot. It's being a slight pain.
Okay.
So how do you feel about that?
All right. Okay, guys. So we're gonna have our Void Shroud Satchel Shroud giveaway with the BOA trinket here. So everyone who's in stream right now, just get ready to answer a question in chat, and you have a chance of giving your own Void Tentacle trinket. So we got the question going up here in just a few seconds. Be ready with your response. Be ready with your answer. May the best Twink win, and good luck, guys.
Oh, shit. I wonder if anyone knows this. I know Rise knows this. I don't know if anyone else knows this.
I don't know. We'll find out.
Well.
Well, Rise definitely know. Oh my god.
I thought Rise was even in here. Oh shit, Rise coming in and snaking it.
Oh my goodness.
There you go, buddy. Alright, Rise. You get yourself a satchel.
Congrats, dude. The Void Satchel Man going to Rise. Congratulations, bro. We'll work out the details. I'll get that satchel over to you.
Yeah. Yeah, Rise, that was the question for it. Were you not listening?
And just for everyone in chat right now, just to continue the hype, we will have more Void Satchel giveaways in the next few weeks here, so stay tuned. We will be doing more live giveaways with Void Satchels for those of you that are trying to get that trinket. Okay.
Alright, yes, let's go on from there, and let's get to the Warsong Gulch thing, because this is something I'm interested in as far as, like, we have the team set up. We saw that the arena comps are all going to be pretty similar. So, like, what do you expect the comps to look like here?
Hang on. There we go. Tell Nightbot goodbye. There we go. Okay, so, well, I think the comps are going to be pretty, pretty standard. We've been talking about this before. I think we're going to see a lot of teams running with the BM Monk, Arms Warrior, Boomkin Frontline. Those are your big three. Priest heals, Shaman heals, Resto Druid FC, and a Rogue. Then you'll probably have at least one Hunter. And then your only real differences between comps, in my mind, is you'll have that last DPS slot that's open for like a Hunter, an Archmage, a Warlock, something like that. And you'll have your last healer slot open for either a Resto Shaman or a Mistweaver, in my opinion. So probably those are your two maybe spots there. You might see some teams try to 2-heal and get that extra DPS in there, which is good in terms of midfield, but it's not good on terms of offense and defense. So it depends on how teams are going to handle that if they go with that 2-healer look. Because they'll have that heavier midfield. You'd probably see a team run Priest Shaman or something like that if they're going to 2-heal and throw in like a Lock or a Mage, something to help them dominate mid, because that's the whole point if you're going to run 2 heals. It's just, if one of your healers goes down, it is a nightmare.
That seems like a really dangerous proposition, given the way things are right now. Like, do you really think that's going to be a viable strat if people run that?
I think that there will be some teams that do try that at some point in the tournament. There's a lot of teams that will do it in Real ID pugs. In Real ID premates, there's definitely people out there that have run it, and the community's definitely seen it. You have to have two really solid healers, and your team as a whole have to work well together, because if one of your healers goes down, it's a nightmare. So you have to prevent that from happening.
Can you imagine being stuck there having to solo heal entire mid against an organized 10-man?
Oh, man, it would be... Good luck. I mean, you have to be a priest, and good luck. A shaman, good luck, Mr. Shaman. Your Riptides aren't going to go far enough, so...
Oh, God, yeah.
The cool thing about this tournament is that I definitely think we will see a little bit of a comp variation from team to team. You know, the first round's pretty much going to have... The first round of the tournament's going to have EBLG playing BTB. I think those should be good games, to be completely honest. I think those are pretty evenly matched. It'll be interesting to see what teams come out comp-wise. But like we always talk about, it's more about movement and player positioning and how you're moving as a team, how you're handling situations. So it's hard on one side if you don't know exactly what people's team comps are going to be and kind of their motivation to sit here and say, I know the outcome of the game. But I think that series looks relatively even, and it's going to come down to leadership and which team's able to pull out and do a good job in those clutch situations. And then vice versa, you look at the other first-round series, which is Parties Over versus Laughing Skulls, and I think Laughing Skulls is definitely the lesser team in the series, but Parties Over hasn't been playing that much. I think for them, they should be able to win that series. I think Parties Over will win. Laughing Skulls, I think, has got to get some practice under their belts these next 2 weeks if they're going to want to compete in the Twink Cup coming up. They are a newly formed guild that just signed up just before the Cup, so they've got to get some work under their feet and get a feel for their team synergy if they want to go places in the Twink Cup. Because I know that Parties Over hasn't been playing that much, but these guys play together all the time. They're really solid players at endgame. They'll figure it out. I don't think they're going to have an issue in that series. So
yeah, and then we move on to the next round, and we have Gurubashi Surf Club playing Jesus Christ Marie, to answer your question, Marb. So who do you think the dark horse is? Like, let's say something terrible happens and your team's out. So we take you out of the equation. Who do you think the dark horse is to come in and actually do some work? and possibly even take the chip?
I got 2 teams, and you're giving me a hard time right now deciding between the 2.
Well, you could say them both and give your reasons for each.
I think
we can go dark horsies.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, okay. So I think that Gurabashi Surf Club has a very good chance of being that dark horse candidate, coming out here and winning the Twink Cup. They've got a lot of synergy together. They're not scared to try out strategies that they think they can work and throw teams off with stuff like that to keep people on their toes, where a lot of teams will just run a very standard comp and you can kind of expect what they're playing. So GSC is definitely not scared to mix it up comp-wise. So can bode in or out of their favor depending how they play it. So that's definitely something to be watching there. Undercover, or Vanilla Milk is the leader of their team. I think he's a great GM and he's a smart guy, and he definitely has the leadership abilities to get his team in a position like that. So watch out for GSC as a sleeper. I think in the second round, the game to watch is going to be GSC versus JCM, and I think that GSC needs to win that game if they're going to have success. That's a big win for me against them. JCM coming into the tournament right now is looking like a really strong candidate as well. They've been picking up a lot of traction in the last month or so. So watch, I don't think that they're an underdog though. I think that they're a favorite, one of the favorite teams going into this. So GSC can make a statement here, even though they're ranked higher than them based off arenas. I would give JCM the edge in this series by a considerable amount, but GSC's got a lot of things up their sleeve and they're ready to pull it out. The second team that I want to say here is watch out for Waka Flocka Seagulls, because Waka Flocka Seagulls right now, to me, this may offend people, this may not offend people. Waka Flocka Seagulls, to me, talent-wise, is probably on the lower end, talent-wise.
Okay.
But here's the deal. They've got, in my mind, the best player on their team. I think Botano's a solid shaman. I think Manizi's a solid healer. And then I think Gankarixer's probably top 3 rogue. I think that guy's a beast. He carries that team really hard objectively. But the thing is that Waka Flocka, it doesn't matter so much that they don't have individual talent. They just work so well as a unit right now, and they've been playing way more games than everyone else. So they've got a lot of practice under their belt. Their all-star players are showing up and making some plays for them in these games as well too. Watch out for Waka Flocka. I think that they have a lot of momentum right now going in to the Twink Cup, and I would not be surprised if they beat Ping in their first game.
And that goes back to something that we always talk about: communication and synergy. Like the sum of the whole of your team can become greater if you can work together than if you just take a collection of whomever put together. Maybe individually they're each better, but if you bring a cohesive group together that communicates, and maybe you won't have something like where unfortunately Moran goes down because the communication was there, so that was never even a possibility.
No, I totally agree, man. Communication and team synergy and team movement is what this meta is about. And then it also comes down to what your leadership's got to be strong in situations where you were not prepared for. And it's sometimes in these splits how player movement turns out. It's where it's in the weird situations, the awkward situations where making good decisions with your team leaders is going to come into play. And in this Twink Cup, some of these decisions could really make or break a team winning or losing a series. That's the questionable spot for Waka Flocka in my mind. I feel like they work solid as a group. They have a strong mid, an underrated midfield, I should say, too. And they have good, I think Gankarixer carries their defense, their objective play. But it'll be in tough situations. Will Waka Flocka be able to come out and make the plays in the tough situations? So we'll have to watch and see that. Other than that, I mean, we'll have to see which teams get by for the play-ins to face Skill Ratio and Harvest. I think that Harvest will probably win the first round, their first game, against either team. The Skill Ratio game, if they get parties over, that's a rematch people are looking to see.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Yes, that's a rematch. Well, a pseudo rematch, let's say, of last year's finals, because you have Moran, who was on parties over or their version of Party's Over last year, which was what, this Sunday night. And Moran is now on skill ratio, and then you have other of the remainders of that and some other fillers from the endgame RBGers taking that. So yeah, that's basically, for all intents and purposes, a rematch of last year's finals, which I guess, should we talk about the DDoS thing, since that kind of inhibited the ability for the finals that went out? Or?
I think that people are real, you know, after the arena tournament on Sunday, I think people realize again, hey, you need to be protected. It's something that's been talked about forever, but now that people see the stream got knocked offline for 2 hours, I think people realize, hey, you need to be protected. So, hey, it's on your players and it's on your team to make sure that you're protected going into the tournament. At the end of the day, it's your own fault if you're not protected, and that's pretty much the best they can do, because it's not like everyone wants people to play, that wants to be competition. And at the end of the day, it's really hard to tell who is and is not hitting someone offline. So you've got to make sure that on yourself you're doing the best job protecting yourself. And that's about the best you can do. So that's probably all my comments there. But I don't know. I don't want to predict too much farther than that. But, you know, one thing that could be kind of fun that we could do right here that I didn't think about is I could go down and just, like, rank where I think the teams are probably. Even though the seating's differently in Warsong.
Well, the seating also, that is, excuse me, the seating for Warsong, we should mention, is reflective of how teams performed in the arena tournament. So, a Harvest got #1, so they are the top-seeded team, and it trickles down accordingly.
Right.
But yeah, I think it'd be very interesting to hear how you think their actual Warsong teams are seeded, because that may have no direct reflection of how the arena teams performed.
Okay, so I don't actually have this written down or anything. This is just an idea off the top of my head. But I think your top candidate going into the tournament by far is skill ratio. I don't even think that's a question. I think skill ratio is the top team. I'm not even sure if they've been capped on yet. They have a very defensive play. I think in situations where things get tight, they'll go defensive. Really defensive. But in midfield, they look to go for that offensive front, and they've got a strong midfield. They've got probably the best leader at 19s coming in there. So they've got someone who understands the meta. At #2, this is probably going to be a little different than what people probably expect. I have JCM probably as #2 in Warsong. I think JCM right now, they are really turning the corner in how they are playing in midfield, and I think JCM's midfield really carries them now in Warsong Gulch. They probably have the strongest midfield out of any team going right now. So, and they also have some strong objective play too, with Ezeron being Hunter on their team. He's a great player. He knows what's going on.
And is Rubik's playing on their Warsong Gulch team?
I don't think so. He's on their roster, dude. But look, that's funny that you bring that up, but like, if Rubik's played on their team, like, that's irrelevant to me, and I think that's probably a poor decision by them, because he literally doesn't play. So, like, we've seen this reflected how many times? Like, I don't have to say it to me. You know, I don't want to continue repeating myself, but if you don't play, you won't have success. I don't care who you are. You have to play the bracket.
Well, you don't have to get angry,
like
man. It's just a question.
It's just how it works, bro. Oh, I'm going to slam it down. It's a no. I think it'd be stupid if they ran Rubik's. But whatever.
That's fair enough.
Then I would probably put Waka Flocka Seagulls at 3. And that's probably one where people were like, whoa, dude, what are you talking about? I would probably put Waka Flocka Seagulls at 3, though, right now, if you ask me. Because I just think that so far, they're objectively playing really... Their objective play at times is a little bit questionable, but Gankerixer really carries their defense. Their midfield's strong, and they're just a robot, man. They're a machine right now. So I put them at I put them at the 3 spot. I think that they have some leadership and in situational plays that they're going to have to get better at that if they're going to want to get past some of the higher seeded teams. And then coming in 4, I would have Harvest at 4. Harvest, out of every team in the tournament, has had the most roster changes from the beginning to the end. And right now, we got to get our team's got to get our synergy together. But we have a great leader. We've got the mechanics and we've got the synergy to make it happen. So I'm going to put Harvest at 4.
I like this sort of third-person thing you got going. They have a great leader.
What do you want me to say, bro? I'm not going to sell myself short there. I think that for us right now, we've got to find our grind in midfield, and I think that's the questionable spot right now because the objective play I don't think is totally in question for Harvest, but their midfield play is in question. They've got to clean that up if they're going to want to have success in the tournament. Now the 5 spot, this is a toss-up, man. You either go with Ping, who is coming out and playing well. They've just formed like a month ago. They've conglomerated some people together from different guilds. It's Tap Out's team for the tournament. They're EU based, but they got people in US as well too. Or you could go with Gurabashi Surf Club, and they've got Vanilla Milk there, who's a great leader. They've had a lot of chemistry. They do a lot of pre-mades. A lot of their players get in the real ID pre-mades, try out a lot of different strategies. For me personally, I think that I would say that GSC has an edge over Ping right now. I would put them at the 5 slot and Ping at the 6. Then you're looking at the 4 guilds that are left. I'd probably go Parties Over at 7, BTB at 8, EBLG at 9, and Laughing Skulls at 10. I think Parties Over's just got great players. I think they're gonna figure it out. And listen to this. I put them at 7, but like mechanically they're better players than like anyone in this bracket. But they still, like, where they are at right now, they've got to figure out the gameplay. They've got to figure out the meta. If they turn it around, like, they could easily surpass these numbers that I've just ranked them at. No problem. But they have to prove that. And yet they haven't proved that so far. They didn't even know the arena tournament was Sunday. So the amount of effort they put into this bracket is very little and questionable at best.
Well, is that surprising to you, seeing as how when they were in the tournament last year, it was, oh, geez, like this is a little bit more intense than we thought, and you have a lot of people returning that, experience that, know that, and then to see the kind of the same thing repeat itself, it's like, don't you know you just can't show up and collect your winnings? You actually have to put in some work and play together and figure out how you're going to be holding down Wars on Gulch, how you're going to do mid, how you're going to do your breaks.
I just don't think they put in the time yet to be successful. I think BTB is an 8 spot. They're starting to put in the time. It's a range of players of different skill levels, from great to not good. So they've got to figure it out. They've got to figure out how to work as a unit, similar to Waka Flocka right now. EBLG, I don't even know if they played a pre-made, but in Gino we trust. So Gino hopefully can turn his group of guys around. And then Laughing Souls, to me, literally just formed. I've actually been able to play with them as a sub in one pre-made to help them out. They need some work. They got to get some practice under their belt. I don't think they just realize how the meta works right now. And running 2 priests, I'm just going to say as a friendly reminder, is not a good idea. So don't run 2 priests.
What do you think their rationale is for running the 2 priests?
I don't know, but let's not run 2 priests. So, I don't know.
HB's tip of the day.
Don't run 2 priests. How about that? Tip of the day.
Yeah.
That's kind of, you know, where I would say off the top of the dome, where I would rank people as. You know, I'd love to hear back from you guys what you guys think on those rankings. Comment on iTunes or on the threads on Twink Info or bisnation on that if you have a different opinion or you want to chime in. But off the top of my head, that's pretty much where the teams line up as of right now. So we can't really determine where people are going to be going other than that, but that's our early predictions.
Right, well, let's put a bow on this.
Yeah, well, we want to put a bow on it, just like we want to put a ring on it like Beyonce, but it wouldn't be complete if we don't have our music tracks of the week.
All right.
What you got,
did some research on your... Oh, you want me to go first? All right, mine is going to be 70s, 80s remix, Nightmares on Wax.
Dang, that sounds funky right there.
It's really good. If you want something kind of relaxing, I can't even give you a better track. Yeah, it's about as good as it gets.
My song is Papa Loves Mambo, so I can't even remember who it's by after I just looked up all that garbage.
Geez, it was like Papa Smooth or something?
No, it was not Papa Smooth. Hang on. Papa Loves Mambo.
You came up with like 7 different names. There was Steve Martin, then you wikied it. There were 4 different people, and the most popular person was like
Perry Como. Perry Como.
Perry Como. I was close.
All right. So, Papa Loves Mambo, Perry Como. Check it out, folks. It's a good song. At Fear the Buns on Twitter, twitch.tv/fearthebuns for the top 19 Twink stream. Chuck a follow. Chuck a follow on at bisnation. Twitch.tv/bisnation. Sorry, you go ahead. I got excited.
No, it's fine, man. I almost feel bad. I've been so freaking out of sorts since that kerfuffle that occurred at the top of this whole thing. Been kind of lost, so I appreciate you stepping in there and carrying it tonight. Stay tuned. I do have Pseudo Wudo coming up for the Twink Cup leader interviews, followed by a Love Shack. We're going to see if I can pull it together. Buns, we need to figure out how this is going to work. And I need to take 2, and I'll be back.